What about the? I mean, we've had to live with a long-term UFO cover-up, and I guess most people, when they hear the words UFO cover-up, think of the government, and I guess the deep state or someone working behind the scenes. But no one really talks about the religious UFO cover-up. I mean, that's been going on for a long time.
Well, define what you mean by the religious UFO cover-up.
Well, for example, I mean, the Catholic Church, for example, and I know they recently have come out and said a couple of things which have surprised a lot of people, but, disclosure is probably going to, I'm not sure whether it's going to hurt religion, but it's going to upset a lot of people.
It'll collapse religion.
Collapse it.
It will absolutely, utterly collapse the world religious systems as we know it. And I've written about this extensively. That's why I call it the coming great deception. It is the mega lever. It is the lie that we read about prophetically, written thousands of years ago, because they, humankind, did not believe the truth. What is the truth? That God created everything. He sends them a lie. What is the lie? Well, the springboard to the lie is the Darwinian paradigm, which was just kind of manufactured about 150 years ago or whatever. It's like, well, all this just sort of happened over billions of years. Well, isn't that convenient? No one knows where it started from. No one knows where the first self-replicating molecule, happened into existence. Nobody knows. Nobody knows where we are or what this is in the universe. If the United States of America is analogous to the universe as we know it, are we in Dallas, New York, Los Angeles, Walla Walla? Nobody has a freaking clue. So first of all, we don't know where we are, which should keep every one of us up all night scratching our heads going, gee, what is this really? Some people believe that we're in a holographic universe. I do. So the fact that the prophetic message states unequivocally that God sends them a lie because they did not believe the truth. We already talked about was the truth that the God of the Bible, the creator, spoke everything into existence. Specifically, Jesus, the Messiah, the Christ, spoke everything into existence. In the beginning was the Word. He was with God from the beginning. All things were created through him. And without him, nothing that was made was not made. So, okay, well, that's interesting. That's, some guy high on mushrooms out in the desert writing this thing. So we won't believe that. Okay, don't believe it. Believe in Darwinism. So that's the lie, which is the springboard, which the neo-Darwinists are already looking out there. They're already looking for panspermia. Where's our creators? Film after film after film. So when they finally show up, they'll have a couple of things. They'll have a DNA upgrade, which is a little chip that you'll get, planted in your hand or on your forehead or whatever. It'll be basically invisible. There'll be no entry mark to it. And it will change your DNA. And it will make you live 300 to 500 years disease-free. Wow, the line for that will be around the block. Okay? And it'll also give us the same energy that pilots the craft. So everybody's going, yay! And they'll stop all the wars, and they'll create this one world government and a one world religious system. But the religions as we know them today will just completely free fall. They'll collapse of their own weight, in my opinion. This is the coming great deception.
Okay. I read a few years ago, theologian Patrick Cook once said that the gods have been mistaken for aliens, as opposed to what Eric von Däniken said, where aliens have been mistaken as gods. I mean, have you got a view on that?
Well, I mean, it's funny how everybody keeps trying to define, the puny human that lives to 80 years or a maximum 120 years is going to tell us all about this infinite being who allegedly spoke everything into existence. I mean, no one knows where we are. I already stated that. Nobody knows. And that in itself is incredibly alarming. So for all the smart people that are out there, you don't even know where you are. You don't even know, no one knows where human consciousness is stored. Nobody knows. It's not in the pituitary gland. It's not in the brain. You can dissect the brain. There's not a little guy going, hey, here I am. It's not there. It's not there. So no one knows what consciousness really is. And how is it if I say to you, hey, remember the first girl you kissed? Bam, why is it there? How does your memory instantly call that up without you even thinking about it? How does all that work? We have no idea. Now we can reduce it. Well, it's the synapses in the brain and electrical impulses. Come on. That's just the mechanics of it. That's spirit interfacing with some sort of mechanical device. But this is what I mean. This whole thing is incredibly mysterious. So, the ancient astronaut theorists are selling us ancient aliens that, aliens seated us here and they were the gods our ancestors worshipped. I get all that. And when you go back and you look at mythology and the gods of Babylon and Greece and everything else, these were real entities. In most cases, they were fallen angelic beings masquerading as entities, and they had a lot of power and they did a lot of stuff. I get that, but that's why the whole thing of prophecy. So for listeners out there, for your viewers, before you throw this out with the bathwater, you got to understand that the prophetic messages that we find in the biblical prophetic text are thousands of years old, and yet we see, as the late Chuck Missler would say, it's an integrated message system. All these prophecies, and there are hundreds of them, dovetail together and integrate with each other. So the odds of that happening by something not supernatural, I mean, it's not the invention of mankind. 66 books, 40 authors written over thousands of years, and it's an integrated message system. That in itself is absolutely stupefying. So there is a creator. There's one guy up there who's the real God and has made himself known for those who want to partake. But in the meanwhile, all these demigods, who are the fallen angels, want to be worshipped. And they set up shop at Teotihuacan, at Chichen Itza, at the Great Pyramid of Egypt, all over, in places like Zambujaro in Portugal, places like Stonehenge in England, places like Karnak, places like the Serpent Mountain in the Americas, or Cahokia, largest mountain in the United States, and other places. And they give knowledge and power, and they do stuff, and they're allowed to operate for a certain period of time, and then it all goes away.
Mm-hmm. Now, just go back to the Bible. I mean, you mentioned 66 books, but I mean, it could have been so much more. I mean, there's been books that have been left out or taken out of the Bible over the years, and I've managed to read a few of them. You can find them online, but why do you think that was? I mean, are they trying to hide something?
No, because I mean, this stuff is readily available. There's actually, you can go back and look at all the church councils until the Great Schism happens, and then between the Eastern and Western Catholic Church, and they both excommunicate each other, and all hell breaks loose to the 20th century. I excommunicate you. I excommunicate you. It's just like, leave it to the bumbling human being to completely screw everything up, which is what we're so good at doing. But the book of Enoch is an incredible book. It's quoted about 70 times in the Tanakh, the Old Testament. It's quoted in some of its passages, verbatim in the book of Jude. If you were going to read anything, read the book of Enoch, Enoch 1, because it gives us this really incredible insight into the antediluvian world and the whole seed war, Genesis 3:15, and this whole heavenly war that I've been talking about from the get-go. The book of Enoch just amplifies the heck out of it. And I use that book and quote it extensively, and even make an argument that, gee, I wonder why it's not in the canon, because it kind of was in and out. All the rabbis knew about it. And it went missing really till R.H. Charles found it. So all this stuff has a way of coming back in. But, you get things like Bel and the Dragon, which is in the Catholic Bible, but not in the Protestant Bible. Well, you're free to read it, and you can, discern for yourself whether this is inspired or not inspired. So that's the deal. But the 66 books pretty much, let me put it this way. The Tanakh, the Old Testament, that's pretty much set in stone. Although Enoch came in and out of that, as well as, the Maccabees and other stuff. So it depends which Bible you pick up. If you pick up the Ethiopian Bible, it's going to be different than the Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox. I mean, they all add and subtract things. The bottom line is the central focus of it is man is fallen and there is a redeemer. That's the deal. That's the whole stinking deal. Because man's fallen, he's now ruled by the dragon, but there's someone that's going to come and crush the dragon's head and redeem man back to himself. That's the deal. Mm-hmm. So whatever books, that you can pick, you can name whichever ones kind of talk about that, then those are the ones that were kept. The ones that don't went by the wayside for the most part.
Yep. I got one for the self-improvement, positive mental attitude crowd too. The Book of Thomas, if you ever get a chance to get your hands on it or find it somewhere.
I read it. Yeah.
Yeah.